Boomer Bust Mind Sculpt Economics. Darcy is filming on site at an airport as she waits 2 hours for a flight. Woohoo! But I'm going to take the time to talk to you about marketing, what we do with Mind Sculpt games for marketing, why it's so important to us as a local game store. And I've told you before I don't have a business degree, but I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how I learned marketing and what I do to try to do what I do. Not saying I'm perfect at it. We're going into month 4, so however much advice you want to take from this business lady, I'm going to talk about our marketing strategy. So as a local game store, we are an event-driven place that sells social. We need word of mouth, and we need people to feel engaged with our community, and we need to be able to be in their pocket in a way. So social media is definitely one of our main venues for marketing. But one thing I want to say is a lot of small businesses, they want to rely on word of mouth. And word of mouth is good, great, essential. But if you use word of mouth as your main marketing venue, you're not in control of the message. The people are in control of the message. And people usually have good things to say, but if your business plan is purposeful and your business plan is geared towards creating a certain environment or vision, word of mouth probably doesn't convey that pretty well. My Magic players see my store differently than my miniatures players. And I have customers who are moms that do a bunch of board games and they never talk to the Magic players. So word of mouth is something for us, and friends will bring in friends, and that's good. But what I need to do with my marketing is I need to bring in the consumer that's not already inside my door and not already connected to someone inside my door. So social media marketing is probably our main venue. Now we've been in the newspaper, we've been on the radio, we've looked for as much free advertising as we can. And my background, I'm at the airport because I'm heading to an event where I'm actually going to give away my book. So be careful on what you're listening to with marketing. But I published a book a little over a year ago called From My Mother. Book title's conveniently on my shirt, but it is about my family's experiences with genetic disease. My mom and my brother both had myotonic muscular dystrophy, and my brother passed away when I was 16 and he was 13. And my mom passed away when my son was 3 months old. I think I was 25. I should probably know, but it's been over 5 years now. So yes, 25. And she passed away with adult onset myotonic muscular dystrophy, which meant her lungs weren't supporting their own breath anymore. Her body was continually weakening with a degenerative muscle disease that currently has no cure. And I've always wanted to grow up and be an author. You feel sidetracked right now, don't you? So this book kind of didn't write itself because it was a ton of work, but it had to be written. And when I was in the writing process, I actually applied for and received a grant from the Salina Arts and Humanities Commission, the Lana Jordan Aspiring Artist Grant Horizon Award. That was a great thing in my life. It was huge, but it gave me $3,000 to market and publish the book. So where does my marketing experience come from? Well, it comes from my experience as an author mainly. My New Year's resolution last year, so not this year, but the year before last, right before the book was published, I read a book about social media and marketing a week for 12 weeks. So I got my phone out. I looked for a book that was published within the last 6 months because social media changes very fast. And for 3 months straight, I just digested as much social media marketing knowledge as I could. And for my book, I used Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I tried other things. I tried Snapchat. I have a Pinterest page. I actually had a website built. But being able to thank you for the grant. Being able to play with other people's money and learn marketing did good things for my book. We sold 1,000 copies in the first year, and for a first-time author writing about a rare disease without a real, I'm not famous platform, that's pretty good. But what it allowed me to do as an author is gain skills that I didn't normally have access to. So my background, I taught English. I taught AP English, AP Language, English 3, and intensive reading for 6 years. So my education background is education. And with that, there's verbal ability and speaking ability, and you talk in front of people all the time when you're a teacher. So there's some good skill building there. But when my book came to publication, I actually needed to spend less time at home grading. So I switched jobs, became a gifted facilitator. And now my job is really cool. I'm an instructional technology coach in a middle school with one-to-one Chromebooks. So my job is now to help people use technology well in education. And with that, I've gone to two different Mid-America, let's see, Computers in Education conferences, two MACE conferences, and presented on social media and school improvement. So between being an author, and actually I have an event coming up in October with the Kansas Authors Club where I'll present on social media and marketing for a book, and then with the school district talking about social media and school improvement, and I run our school's Facebook page and Twitter. Great Bend, Kansas, we get a lot more traction on Facebook than Twitter, so that's kind of where we put our efforts for Mind Sculpt Games too, but it's the real world knowledge that actually makes me able to do what I do with Mind Sculpt Games, which I'm not saying is perfect or the emblem to follow, but I'm saying without my business degree, the way I've gained the knowledge to try to market Mind Sculpt Games is through real life experiences, working as a tech coach and working with social media in the school district and working as an author and trying to self-promote as much as possible to see if I can make it big as an author. Just for the record, 1,000 books is okay, but I'm going to this Myotonic Dystrophy Foundation conference, which is the disease in my family. I didn't inherit, just in case you're wondering. But I'm going there, paying for my own plane ticket, paying for my own hotel. I got a good deal on Expedia, but my books will actually be free there with a suggested donation going to the MDF. So while I talk about marketing and I care about making money with Mind Sculpt Games, like I do care about environment and creating a good place in the community, but the bottom line is if I don't make money with Mind Sculpt Games, I'm not going to do it. I am in it to make money. My book's different. It feels like something I was meant to write, you know. We choose some things in life. I chose Mind Sculpt Games. I'm not sure I chose from my mother. It might have chose me, but I try to do my best for that book. And the grant money, I mean, being handed $3,000, you know, at the end of a year of after publication, I'm okay going paying for my plane ticket and giving away some books and talking to some amazing, awesome people and working with my favorite charity. So with marketing, we'll get back on topic for your local game store now. With marketing, social media is incredibly important because it's low effort on the part of the customer or the player or the potential customer. So it's really important to be in people's pockets. And like, duh, you know that, right? But being in people's pockets professionally and in a purposeful way is really important. So I don't have a business degree, but I do have a business plan. And I think if you are in the local game shop industry, you have to have a purposeful business plan. I have a marketing section in my business plan, and that marketing section drives a lot of what we're doing. The Boom or Bust series, it's on purpose. You know, I kind of named it Boom or Bust the first video, and I was like, hey, I like that, and we kept going with it. But in order for us to connect in our small town and build customer loyalty and have customers returning, we need to be part of the experience. My husband goes on camera, I go on camera, and on Facebook, we don't sell stories, but we certainly tell you our story. Stories connect. If you want to have returning customers, you need connection. And to build connection, the best way is a little bit of vulnerability, a little bit of transparency, and just be you in front of them. And well, I could sit in front of somebody and tell them honest things, and I love customer service in the store. Like I love interacting with a new Magic player. I super love talking to moms about board games that'll be good for them to play with their 6-year-old kids. I really enjoy talking to people that have played for a long time, and you know, the stories that their friendships are built on Warhammer or whatnot. But me in person talking to one person, it does have a large return on investment or ROI with that person. But online, if I can share a story, if I can get, I guess the most video views we've had has been like 1,500, but that's pretty good. And if a lot of them are local or if they're shared by people in Great Bend, our hometown, more and more people gain that exposure to Mind Sculpt Games. And it's one thing to know a place's name, Mind Sculpt Games, SCULPT, mindsculptgames.com, like it's hard to spell. So more than just the name or a URL, people need to know something about you. So that's why we put our stories up there. That's why Boom or Bust is worth it to me, because it's part of a purposeful marketing plan. It's part of a business plan. It's part of the message I want to convey to customers, because anybody can walk into my store and say whatever they want. And there's going to be Facebook reviews and there's going to be Google reviews. And we hope those are pretty good, because we do try hard for customer service and we really enjoy what we do. But if there's any shifts in what our business does, or if there's any new product highlights we want to bring out, that message needs to be from us. So in fact, the next video, well, maybe not the next, but one I will do soon is about a $3,000 purchase, mostly of board games and accessories, that is from a distributor geared towards Christmas purchases, geared towards that Black Friday environment. So I got a bunch of things that are easy for parents to pick up, that are easy for Aunt Sally to buy nephew Joe, and he'll like it no matter what, like, a deck box, or a 4x3 binder, or a board game that pretty much anybody can play, like Pyramid Poker. So we're bringing in a lot of things that we haven't necessarily had before, and it's completely growth funds. Like, this is just, we have this money, we don't have anything to pay right now, how are we going to grow? Well, it's a really big experiment, so I'll definitely talk about that later, but we are adding basically $4,000 MSRP of board games and a whole bunch of supplies, and restocking some stuff. But it's very experimental, and word of mouth isn't going to promote that product. People aren't going to go on Facebook or Google and say, hey, they just brought in a ton of stuff, go check them out, because you don't know what was there last week if there's a ton of new stuff this week. So I need to be in control of that message. So guess what? I've set up Boom or Bust. I have people that are watching online. I have people that are interested in us, our story, to see if this teacher lady can actually become a small business owner without a small business degree and make a profit. Can she profit in the first year? And if I get on my social media outlets, which Facebook is always the most connected to your locals, like there's no way around it. Twitter might connect you all over the world. You might get more followers there, but they're not as likely in your town, especially in a small Kansas rural town. So I run the social media for our school, and I run Facebook and Twitter. And the amount of followers we have and interactions we have on Facebook with locals, with parents, with people engaged in our school community is way higher than what we have on Twitter. So when I talk about ROI, or return on investment, with our social media outlets, I know eventually I want to be on Instagram, Snapchat, that kind of thing. I'd love to be there with Mind Sculpt games, but we really are pretty limited on our time resources until we manage to build up to where we can hire. But I got to stick where the most traction is, and the traction needs to not only be numbers I can see, but numbers I can do something about. So Facebook gives us this pretty constant, fairly regular viewership. We post it on our business page. I share it on my page. My husband shares it on his page. Sometimes my dad shares it. That's not part of the business plan, but that's nice of him. Sometimes our customers share it, and sometimes we reward them for sharing it, whether they know it or not, that it's going to happen. But what we're able to do is create customer loyalty before they're customers. We create an investment in our story, because we're telling our business story from day one forward. So you're going to see a Boom or Bust every week until I'm like, I'm done with that. But right now it's really fun. I enjoy doing it. Being part of an author, I guess, how I would build my first draft is usually talking to myself in the car. And if I pretend no one's around or face the wall in an airport, then it's kind of like draft one, and I don't have to edit it 30 times to get the book to publication. I just press publish, and then it's out there. So it's a little easier. Actually, video marketing, I think it's really pretty easy. Most of the time we do one-cut videos. Sometimes I really screw up or say something I shouldn't and I delete it, but I can go back and cut the last 5 seconds, and then you just see a jump of me. But I like the authentic feel of just a one-cut video, so a lot of times that's what we do. Now, normally on Facebook, we try to keep it under 10 minutes. Honestly, that 2 to 3 minute zone is really good for Facebook. And Facebook, you probably need subtitles, because so many people use Facebook at work where they can't have the volume going. But YouTube, and this video is going on YouTube first, YouTube is good for longer conversations, more in-depth knowledge. If people want to learn a skill in the modern era, pretty often they will YouTube it. So if I'm talking to you about marketing for a local game store, I can talk for, I'm already on minute 14, but I can talk for a while about how we really connect to our consumers, how we build brand loyalty. and how we build the hook factor in personality. Now, if we're an event-based business and we sell social, it makes sense that part of the social is us. So um, who I am online is part of the branding, and that means I kind of got to protect my Facebook profile and what I post and what I don't post. Like, it's not the place for emotional rants, and I don't get too political there. I try to focus on what I can control. I try to do the good I can do. I try to be authentic and genuine, and being somewhat consistent. So the Boomer Bust, we try to post once a week, maybe more, maybe less. So far it's been about once a week, but I really like the video series and I think it's gaining traction, so we might do it more. But that's another principle of marketing too, is you got to have that consistency. So right now we mainly just do Facebook. We do have a Twitter account. We do have YouTube. All three of those are social media, and we do social media marketing through those. I give our business plan as it is about a 5-year lifespan. And if we don't hit one of three things, then we're probably in or out at 5 years, and we make what profit we can. And it'd be great. The level one success is that I do have a business for 4 or 5 years and I pay off my mortgage with the profits, and then we move on. Now, if we can hit a few things, one of these three, then we can be a business that survives for a long time. So one would be that we have a YouTube channel with more subscribers than the population of our town. So if I can get a YouTube channel with 15,000 plus people, then I can drive some online sales. So if within 5 years I can get that done, I think we have a level 2 business. The other thing that we would really be able to do is if we could hit online sales with a reputation that people can actually spell Mind Sculpt games and go to our website and buy things. If we can hit an online sales revenue and sealed product that allows us to expand from there, then we can be more than a 5-year business. And I don't want to tell you the third one yet, but those two things relate to marketing. If I can build a YouTube personality presence, I mean, that's kind of really a shot in the dark, and there's other ways to do it. But if our video marketing works well enough, Facebook, YouTube, whatever comes next, then we can go to the next level. If we're just a local business and we're just a cash register and a couple tables and some product, then there is a limited markup for that. The retail apocalypse is upon us, and the more I build my business, like I said, we were bringing in a $3,000 order that all of it's sealed product. I can price tag all of it. There's no haggling. There's no looking up prices after they're tagged. I mean, that's just the price. There's a lot of businesses that have gone off that model that aren't on the map anymore. So there's got to be other components to the business. So we do trade in, we do buy, all that kind of thing, and we market that too. We stick a 2-sided chalkboard with our logo on both sides out on the corner of our street. So, I mean, there's things like frontage marketing. We have our sign. There's in-store marketing. We try to get people to sign up for our Facebook groups. We can try to get them to follow our Facebook page. Events are part of your marketing. They're part of your stickiness factor too. Can you get people to return by giving them events that are consistent and fun and engaging and that build friendships and relationships? All of that is marketing. So you got marketing outside your shop physically, you got marketing inside your shop physically, and then you got the marketing that goes into people's pockets with social media. And all of those want to tie together to give you a purposeful reputation, a purposeful image, and a reason for people to invest in you. And honestly, the more personal we can make that reason to invest in us, the more that I can get somebody to care about the leeches and Mind Sculpt games and how much they like my dad, or how much they are interested in whether or not I can do this, or whether or not I'm fun to talk to, or whether they want to pick my brain about something. Then maybe we are more attractive than driving to a big city and buying something there, or ordering from the basement in your pajamas when we carry something. I mean, that's really the end goal, is that our video marketing creates a connection that makes people want to support a local game store. And if we can get that, great. If we can't get that, then we have a limited time frame on what our real worthwhile return on investment is. Because even in Great Bend, we're always behind the coast a little bit on trends or business cycles. But retail in Great Bend is going to be very difficult. So there's actually a property I've looked at that would be like 5,000 square foot. And it might be a real good deal, but I think, wow, there's so much I still have to learn. If I were moving to that location, I'd have to hire people. I'd have to scale up. I'm not ready for that. Um, but the thing that would make that successful would be that we can take it beyond the traditional retail model. Now, whether that's a really strong secondary market, honestly, I think I've bought pretty much every easily accessible collection within 100 miles, or somebody else has bought it. But I don't know any collections I can go track down right now to stimulate my online sales. So the secondary market's always going to be good for us, but it's not always going to be as fluid, and there's not always going to be that high of volume. There's going to be these feast and famine times. There's going to be times where people sell off collections more. There's going to be times where I bought so many collections that there's not very many left. And I can't rely on it month to month. Now, to be honest, there's been a month where we have sold after fees $10,000 on TCG Player since we opened, but that was right after our first month. It was actually our second month, and we got lots of collections when we first opened our doors. And there's been collections I spend $5,000 for that sat on a listing for a long time. Like nobody was interested because nobody had $5,000 to spend on this guy's collection from Mirage on back. But once I did, it was very profitable. Part of marketing too is searching what's already up online. So looking for collections on Facebook, looking through Craigslist, looking through the network connections, posting on my personal Facebook page that I'm buying collections, trying everything to get cards and inventory. This is probably part of why the retail apocalypse is on us. It's hard to get the secondary market cards, and the return on investment is fairly high when you get them, when you can buy a whole collection. It's easy to get product from distributors, and since it's easy to get product from distributors, you got people who are running businesses out of their basement sometimes. Now they can't get everything. There's brick and mortar agreements that you have to prove a valid storefront for to get certain things, but the truth is, because it's so easy to get things from distributors and it's so limitless to get things through distributors, those margins really go down. So if I want to build my business and build marketing structures that support my business, I want to be able to support the high margins. So part of my marketing is not only being able to sell product, but to find the secondary market product that's going to help me with my profit margins. Because if we take a 5,000 square foot store and I fill it with board games and card games and sealed product, and I pay somebody to run my cash register, if they can't trade in and do the secondary market stuff, our margins are worse, but with enough scale, lower margins are okay. But the marketing would have to change, and we would have to make sure there's a population density that could meet the marketing. So when I talk about being in a town of 15,000 people, could I really justify a 5,000 square foot game store? Well, I think 1,000 foot of that would be our shipping center. We'll see. I'm not buying that property at this point. But in the fantasy world, marketing can be effective, but marketing takes metrics. So in my town of 15,000, maybe 20,000 if I count my 5-mile radius of small towns, 10-mile radius, whatever it takes. People commute in rural Kansas. It's kind of the way it goes. But you got to make sure your marketing is trackable. So this is why I'm going to point to social media again. On Facebook, we can target ads, and we can target people who like board games within a 25-mile radius. And I might have to pay like 20 cents per impression, which is really high, but I will be targeting only people in my area and only people who on Facebook have indicated they like board games. That should be a pretty big hit if I post about a board game night. Now, whether or not they show up to the board game night, it is exposure and marketing. So that event itself, it's not always about event attendance. If I can put a board game in a video, and I can put the video online, and I can target people who like board games, that should have a ripple effect that helps us grow. And I'm not really sure about that. Board game nights have actually been hit or miss. We got a guy that made a pretty good video last time, and that gives me a lot of hope for helping our product growth. But it's kind of hard to convince people at first to get out of their houses and come play a board game at a card shop. So that's a marketing thing too, is we got to make sure we present enough to influence a culture that says face-to-face interactions are good. Reading and doing math while playing a board game is actually mentally stimulating, and I like that. So people want to show up and play Dominion with other people and learn a new board game. And that takes time. We aren't in a small town where people innately do that. People innately play football and go hunting, and there's nothing wrong with that. But we want to build more of a board game culture, especially for families, especially for friendships. And to do that, we need more and more exposure online. We need to be able to show them the games. We need to be able to show them the people. We need to be able to talk about why board games are good for us. So those marketing structures, they need to be trackable in place. So if I spend $10 to promote a board game night, I need to know that it's going to the right people. I need to be able to see the impressions. I need to be able to see the effects. And then I need to make a real world assessment too. So if I spend $10 to promote the event and we end up playing 3 games of Dominion and we service 4 customers with it, was my $10 worth it? And my answer is yes on this one. This is an actual experience. But it's not worth it that day. Like, it was a free event, so we didn't profit off of promoting our Facebook post, but we showed an educator, a fellow history teacher, who came in and talked about a board game, talked about why board games are good, talked about why supporting a local game shop was good, so A+ for that guy, and then came and played with us. And more videos like that will help promote a culture where a board game shop could make some money. So we don't have a Target, we have a Walmart, we don't have a lot of board games available outside of us, and that means we don't have a lot of culture available outside of us. So if I go back to my education background, I work on a school improvement team, which was called Culture for Learning, and now it's called Student Recognition. But what we do is we look at ways that we can leverage our communication outlets like social media to make people feel accepted, comfortable, create a culture for learning where expectations are known and people feel appreciated and willing to fit within those expectations. So that's kind of what we're doing too. Like, when I tell the story of Mind Sculpt Games and Boom or Bust, there's an idea that people understand what I'm hoping for. Now, it doesn't mean they're going to behave in a certain way, or like I'm not assigning laws or anything like that, but we're putting out our culture. We're putting out our expectations, our hopes, our desires, mainly our dreams. I mean, Boom or Bust really is about risk innately. That's the name of the series. Excuse me. But when we're putting out our story and those parts, we're really hoping that we're building a culture for gaming, face-to-face interactive gaming where friendships and community are built. And that's a little bit of a stretch in the modern era where there's cell phones and lots of people who don't see each other a bunch. But with a constant stream, with purposeful marketing, with connections, with honesty, with integrity, and with a little bit of transparency, I think we can do it. And the feel inside what I hope in my heart has to be aligned, or at least checked, with the metrics. I don't want to blindly advertise in some magazine that a bunch of retired people are going to pick up and never walk into my store. I want to be able to target people who like Magic the Gathering, or who like Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Pokemon or board games, and show them that content. I want to be able to take a picture of people playing Warhammer in my store and take everybody within a 25-mile radius who likes Warhammer and show them a sponsored post on Facebook. So really, that's our biggest return on investment. I think that is a large part of our growth, is that we do video marketing. We offer a connection to us. We show our story online, and not just to gamers, but actually there's a lot of people interested in entrepreneurship, or if this lady can make a go of it. I mean, I'm hoping that's kind of interesting. But then we would have a natural niche with gamers in our videos, and that's good. But the thing is, we want to connect to people that aren't necessarily gamers now, but could walk into our store, appreciate it, and grow to be gamers. And in fact, we market a lot of our games to parents and children, hoping that, the kid games while they're 8 with their parents in a Haba board game, and then maybe picks up Pokemon and comes to a Trainer Tuesday when they're 10. And then, maybe by the time they're 14 or 16, that they're playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Magic or Warhammer at Mind Sculpt Games. And we've had years of customer loyalty and support, and we enjoy seeing those people. So that's part of it too. We're really building for the long haul. I don't know how long the haul is, but marketing is important. I will tell you, I went to a marketing seminar for the radio that was offered for free by our local radio, and I do have a $400 voucher for 20 to 40 radio ads. Sorry, that probably is very loud. Can you hear that beep? Airport filming, what can you do? But with that, I need to build a script, and I need to look at marketing in a realm where I can't exactly target it, and I can't exactly track it. So I'm still trying to figure out what to put in my radio ad. So if you're listening to this and you have advice, feel free. I think we're going to either target Warhammer on classic rock radio station because we want our, our military guys, our professional men, some people who are looking for something to do that have some expendable income to think about Warhammer. It's really hot right now with 8th edition and we got a lot of excited players. Um, but also thinking about Christmas or Black Friday and all the products we're bringing in. So I really want to use it purposefully because it's a great test to see if we want to, do a contract with the radio for advertising or make that one of our venues because it hits tons of locals and Facebook hits some locals, but nowhere near the rate or density that radio does. Radio is probably one of our best casual consumer outlets, so I'd like to get into it. I'd like to do it purposefully, but what I need to do is I need to create a radio ad that lets me target a specific product and then has some way in store that I could track results. So maybe offer some particular product at a discount or advertise a particular product and then track our sales in Square and have those metrics to go with our advertising. So I need to wrap it up. Marketing is really, a recent passion, but I like it. Social media marketing is incredibly important, and I like to make videos. I enjoy this. It's more fun than talking to myself in my car is talking to myself on a web camera where I can see me. Hi, Darcy. But then building a story and sharing it and trying to do long-term plans basically by brainstorming out loud on a camera. So anyway, maybe marketing will work for me. Maybe marketing will work for you. Boom or bust. Mind Sculpt Economics. See you later.